Welcome to it then. Welcome to another episode of Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. And it is yet another crazy week in the sport of greyhound racing because there are 4 Category 1s kicking off this week. We're going to look back before we look forward. And as ever, we're in open class company. Tony Bullen, open race correspondent at the Racing Post, is in our company. Tony, how's your form?
Yeah, good. Yeah, we've turned the corner, Dave. And as I say, about time, but now we hopefully can kick on.
Very modest. We've turned the corner. Now, 2 weeks ago, you put up Rockabungle, Nap of the Week in the Birmingham Cup. Obviously, that meeting was postponed and rescheduled a week later. 9-2, in he goes. We'll have a look at him. Your Nap last week did the business, and you even, I think, got within one spot of the winning time that Lynx Maverick was going to put up in the match race, which was, it was something different, something I like, but once he smashed out, it was curtains.
Yeah, I mean, the money come for Not So Slow as well. I mean, I put it down as a non-event betting-wise because just like Lynx Maverick hadn't been round and he hadn't been firing on all cylinders, but he would have been 4 on his best form. So, I mean, he did probably end up going to a price where he was backable, but yeah, he done the business. He came away lovely out of the boxes, and it was race over. It was a match race, which was over in a stride.
Yeah, more match racing. We like a little bit of match racing, so good stuff. Something a little bit different. Right, what will this week's show look like? It is episode 33. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let Tony and myself know who you're backing in all these competitions anti-post. We're going to focus on the Champion Stakes. The draws are out. The outright betting is out. So Romford on Friday night, but we're going to look back at Perry Barr and we're going to look back at Romford last week before we do so. But as I mentioned, Tony, on Friday, the Champion Stakes kicks off. Saturday, the Oaks and the Kent Derby. And then on Sunday, the Steel City Cup. I hope you've had a lie down before you tackle all of these open races in the Racing Post.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting, because trainers have obviously got to pick their poison. I mean, the bitches are event, obviously, a lot of the top bitches will go for, but some are going to miss out, because you could have a bitch that would be good enough to take part in the Kent Derby or Steel City Cup. So it's going to be interesting what events diluted, because you can't be in 3 places at once, Dave.
Well, I think the hope would be for, 72 bitches in the Oaks. Do you think we'll get there?
Well, they probably fill them. I mean, there'd be a lot of dead wood in there, no disrespects, but after the first round sort of gets itself out of the way, you'll have the cream rise to the top, and that'll be the event proper then when it gets down to the 36. But I don't think there is 72 open race bitches out there, is there?
Maybe not. Now, I know you're a massive, massive fan of King Memphis. I'm sure you're looking forward to seeing him back in action in the Kent Derby.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the times at Central Park with a pinch of salt at the minute. They're obviously installed new boxes. You find that with a lot of tracks, dogs doing crazy fast times, and even graders doing better times than they've ever done before. So it takes a little bit of bedding in. But one thing he's class, King Memphis. He's returned in fine fettle. Went wrong for him in the Derby. He completely missed the break. But he's a proper class act, and he's going to head into that event with all the momentum.
Yeah, very much looking forward to him in action. And, at the moment, we've got March on Freddie, but I still think that King Memphis is the dog to beat for next year's Derby. I know we're months and months and months away, but he is a class act, and I like that he's been very, very lightly campaigned. So just the big competitions, and hopefully he'll get to next year's Derby in one piece as well, because he is the real deal. Let's get to it then. So before we look forward to the Champion Stakes, let's look back. And we start with the doubleheader at Perry Barr on Saturday night. The Lambe Construction Birmingham Cup final is very competitive. Iams of Sydney headed the market with most firms throughout the week, but had a tricky draw out in Trap 4. And fair play to you, Tony, as I've already mentioned. You suggested Rockabungle, strong running salt, had a good draw, good make-up to come from off the pace. And that's exactly what he did here. He was in Trap 1, 28-22, Darley Diglake, the local in stripes, and Unanimous Leon was up there early doors in the blue of 2. So 1-6-2, but late and fast came Rockabungle.
Yeah, I mean, he had a good make-up. He's not a bang railer, and you'll see that the way he comes home. He comes home up the middle to win the race, but it was all about the front runners sorting themselves out, and the local Darley Diglake, I mean, what a model of consistency he is. He looked like he had stolen this from the front because he had the right dog in behind unanimously on. But Ryoka Bungle, he was stalking with intent going into the third bend. And as long as he didn't make any serious errors when challenging, he was always going to prove the stronger. And he did by a length. It was a good run. I mean, he looked the part when he won the Newcastle British Bred Maiden Derby and then didn't really come forward. They entered him for the Derby, but he took to this track and done it in style, Dave.
Yeah, he did. Fair play to owner Paul Woodburn, who's a massive supporter of the sport, and he's won 2 big competitions now with this dog. I think he mentioned afterwards he's been an owner for 30 years, and this was his first Cat 1. So £12,500. Birmingham Cup going to Ryoka Bungle there in really good style. And then we'll move on to the St Ledger then, and it was the defending champion, Droopys Clue, winning track 1, who was looking to create history. You know, I think the St Ledger's been running almost since the sport has been in existence under rules, 1928. No greyhound had ever successfully defended it. No greyhound had ever won it more than once. Seamus Cahill's Droopys Clue had the draw, had the makeup, had to do it right, and had to be game here, Tony, because he really had to dig deep. 42.97 in trap 1. Clona Curley showing loads of middle in trap 4, the Northern Puppy Derby champion, and Kunoff Crow finishing 3rd in trap 2, but it was far from straightforward.
No, it looked like it was going to be out of the boxes. I mean, he came away nicely. He done 16.05 for the sprint leg of this final. He just fiddled the third bend. He hasn't driven that third bend at Perry Bar well throughout the event, and he looked in trouble. It looked like something's gone amiss, or you just couldn't put your finger on what was going on. And one thing that Droopys Clue is, though, he's gutsy and he's a winner, and that's why he's got such a brilliant strike rate. He's made history here. It looked like it was against him at halfway. He looked like he was all over the place and was just going to get passed by every dog, but dig deep he did. All credit to Clona Curley, put the pressure on. I mean, there wasn't a lot between them. I mean, Torona Bella lost all chance at the boxes. She wasn't beating anything at the death, but all about Droopys Clue. He had to guts this out, and he did.
Yeah, and trainer Seamus Cahill suggesting afterwards that, things have not been straightforward with him. I think he's quoted as suggesting that dog was sort of around about 80%. So he's not quite, firing on all cylinders, but that is the mark of a top class champion. And, you'd have to argue in recent years, this is the dog of the sport. To win a St Ledger and then come out and do it again, along with, competitions over 4 bends and 6 bends before and in between, is remarkable.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, he first arrived on the scene trading blows with the cream over the 4 bends. He made a smooth transition to the staying scene, and what a dog. He'll be remembered for years, what he's done. I mean, he's going to go down in history. It was a surprise to see that no dog's won the Ledger twice, but to defend the title as well, probably take some beating, that, Dave.
Yeah, well done to Seamus Cahill, Teresa Cahill, all the team there, Alex Hanby, the owner as well. And, the journey's not stopped yet. There's talk of travelling over to Ireland. Who knows? A stiff 4 bends, 6 bends. The dog's so classy and versatile. You can take him anywhere and he'll be a big runner to win anything. So we look forward to seeing him in action again. Right now, we'll go back 24 hours prior to that. We'll go to Romford, because the Stars of the Future were on the show in the £10,000 of Coral Romford Puppy Cup. And the draw before the race looked absolutely crucial. I think we had 4 railers, and the anti-post favourite Fire and Ice had fair best, got the inside box, trap 1 for Matt Dartnell's charge. And there was no mistake here, did it right at the boxes, and this was very, very impressive, Tony. 23.84, Untold Rufia in 3, Ginger's Prince in 2. The inside boxes had it between them.
Yeah, I mean, I was amazed he got beat in the semis, Dave, after sort of appearing that he cheated the draw, but he produced his best in the final. And what I like about this dog, he done exactly what he did in a trial stake in the first round. The lengths he takes out of the opposition off that second bend, he rails so well. He opens up 2 or 3 lengths out of the opposition down the far side, and that proved decisive. He's a real balanced dog. He clearly likes an easy 4 bends, and it won't be the last that we'll be seeing Fire and Ice Stratty stuff at Romford.
Yeah, I mean, do you think how far do you think he stays? I think he's won over the 500 at Hove in moderate company. Like, are we looking at a Derby dog next year?
Not for me, no. I didn't think he stayed an ounce at Nottingham 500 metres. I think you'd be like your Pall Mall type of dog, like the 450s. It'd be like if Harlow ever had a Harlow Derby or something, it'd be ideal for those Crayford, them easy 4-bend type tracks for me.
Well, very likely race. We look forward to seeing him in action as well in the not too distant future. I thought he might have been on the Romford card this Friday because there's a 4-bend competition, but time off, well-earned time off for a Category 1 winner, Fire and Ice there. First Cat 1 ever for Matt Dartnell at Romford as well, which was a little bit surprising. Right, from last Friday to this Friday, then, there is £20,000 up for grabs in the Premier Greyhound Racing Champion Stakes, one of the, what I'd call the Triple Crown at Romford, if you like, the Essex Vars, Coronation Cup, and the Champion Stakes, all over 575 metres, 6 bends, lap and a half of the track. Little bit of a history lesson. 1947, this competition was first run at Wimbledon. Ran for a good few years and then was off the calendar for some 10, 15 years. Brought back by Romford in 1988 over the 575 and has been staged ever since. Champion trainer Mark Wallace has won it 4 times, won last year in devastating fashion by Hollow Man, the Hove Raider for Derek Knight. Let's have a look at the 6 heats then, shall we? And we don't have to wait long, Tony, to see the anti-post favourite. We'll get onto the market outright-wise after we've spun through the heats. But 8.19, Trap 1, New Destiny, track record holder. And, of course, she won the Coronation Cup and she does head the betting. She goes in 1, Roxy's Bullet in 2, Bubbly Breezer in 3, Princess Athena in 4, Pin All In 5, and Noir's News in 6. She's going to be very, very short here. And is she unopposable?
Yeah, it's her event to lose. I mean, but 3 rounds at Romford, any given Friday, Dave, you make the slightest error, get crowd city, and you're in trouble. I've seen many a dog come a cropper at Romford, but yeah, she was sensational when winning the Coronation Cup. I mean, she slammed Cooler Derry Dust, who look what he's gone on to achieve since he reached Regency final, Summer Classic final, track record in the process. She was always destined to make an impact over 6 bends, and yeah, I think she's going to take the world a beating. Not a lot of juice in the price, obviously, for what she can do, but she's only one of a few that can probably break the 35-second barrier, Dave.
Yeah, and in any competition at Romford, we've said it on this show before, whether it be 400 metres or the 575, the draw is crucial. And now, listen, she don't want to be out in 5 and 6. She probably doesn't want to be out in 4. But she's shown in her time at Romford the fact that she's actually won that Coronation Cup as well, that being in Trap 1 is not the be-all and end-all for her.
No, and the beauty with New Destiny, she can lead from the front on occasions and come from off the speed. So your goose isn't cooked if you've missed a break and she's not led, because she's not that type of bitch. But as I say, I don't think it's a vintage Champion Stakes. I mean, it's a decent enough one, but I think the fact that she looks head and shoulders above the opposition, it's normally this event's 4 the field, Dave. 5 the field. Not this year.
Yeah, well, unfortunately we lost, like Sylvia Hill Adam picked up an injury last week. Cullerdary Dust picked up an injury at More Barntick Bear Connections decided to give the competition a swerve. So a little bit of gloss taken off of what is often a fascinating event. You know, any 575 competition, I always think you're always going to see like established stayers, which we've got in here, the likes of New Destiny and Mad for Sterling, etc., taking on dogs that are very lightly raced or unraced over 6 bends, chancing their arm. And it's a sharp 6 bends, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's the thing with Romford, you can defend the lead. You got a 35, 30, 40 dog. I mean, we've seen S1 dogs win big competitions at Romford because when you're out in front, if you've got the goalkeepers in behind, it's difficult to pass. So times ain't always necessarily the biggest factor at Romford, but class does matter, and New Destiny's got that in spades.
In abundance. Right, Heat 2 then, which is the 8.36 on Friday night. Now it's my turn in 1. Vixen's Bagheera in 2. Fabulous Sneak in 3. Sid Smurf in 4. Bocco's Thunder in 5, a middle. And Droopy's Blue Chip goes in Trap 6 as a rare wide seed in this competition. Right, let's have a look at Fabulous Sneak then. In Trap 1, absolutely smashing out the boxes. 35-24. Beating Barntick Bear in 2. Untold Shah in 4. It was a 3-runner affair. A decent trial stake, and this is exactly what this bitch is capable of doing. She's another one who doesn't need to be in 1, 2, 3 or 4. It doesn't really matter to her, but what matters is the start.
Yeah, she's game. She's very difficult to pass when she gets on the bunny. She suffered a blip after the race after this victory that we're seeing, but she completely made a mess of the start. She's bounced back to winning ways at Toaster over the four bends since, as you say, she's versatile. They chop and change her over 4 and 6 bends. She loves Romford. 13-30 splits, 13-40 splits are always going to put you in prime position. I suppose this is a little bit of a banana skin, this particular race, because you've got Now It's My Turn on the immediate inside, who's packed a bit of an early punch himself in recent visits. But one thing she's a battler and won't give up the chase.
Yeah, Bocco's Thunder, an interesting run as well. He's shaped with promise over course and distance previously, and the manner in which he stayed on at Perry Bar during the Birmingham Cup when he was in it, and it was recently came from off the speed to score at Nottingham, just suggests to me that I think he's ready to step back up in trip. So he's not to be overlooked as well. Bocco's Thunder there. 2 votes for Fabulous Sonique in that one.
Yeah, I'll be with Fabulous Sonique, but I'm worried about Now It's My Turn on the inside. If she needs to beat that one to the punch.
Okay, right. Now, we're worrying about dogs on the inside. The inside runner in the next heat is going to be a very short price here. This is the 8.54. Heat 3. I Am's a Sydney goes in trap 1. Jeopardy Jasmine in 2. Little as Nuke in 3. Droopy's Maybe in 4. Mad for Sterling a middle in 5. And Burrows Eclipse the wide in trap 6. Now, I Am's a Sydney. Go back to the start of the year. Finished runner-up to Roxy's Bullet in the Essex Vars. We recently saw him reach the final of the Birmingham Cup. We saw that earlier on the show. He's been off the card. He's back on the card, but he looks in good nick, doesn't he, Tony?
Yeah, he does. I mean, that's Connections will be pleased with the way he returned in the Birmingham Cup at Perry. But I know it didn't go his way in the final, but it just shows that the dog is as good as he was. One thing that his form at Romford's very solid, as you say, second in the Essex Vars. He won the Rose Bowl over course and distance in April. He's done 34.70 twice at Romford, so he's another one that can post very quick times on his day. I think he's got a great draw here. I think he throws down a marker by winning that particular heat. Mad for Sterling, he stays on, but he seems to have just seen his form dip. He's not really been taking part in recent outings, and it might be Kennelmate, Little as Nuke, that throws down the biggest challenge. He's a dog that's just starting to find his feet, Little as Nuke.
This looks bomb-proof to me. I'm a Sydney on the inside. What sort of price do you think we're looking at?
I think it'd be shot. I think it'd be very shot. I think it'd be 2 on starting point. I'd say 4 to 7, 2 on, around that sort of price.
Favourite backers might be perming up a few of the jollies on Friday night. I fancy that was Heat 3. 2 votes for Iams of Sydney there. We'll go to Heat 4 then, and the 9.11 at Romford. Gary the Arb goes in trap 1. Jetstream Breeze in 2. Swift Giddy in 3. Drive on Lad in 4. Beaming Panther in 5. And Ballymac John Joe in 6. Now, Gary the Arb is a very interesting runner. He's looking stronger and stronger over 4 bends. Tony, do you think he'll get this?
Yeah, I thought he ran okay at Monmore. He ran over the 630 metres at Monmore in the summer classic.
I want him off the front, though. I want him off the front.
Yeah, that's the only problem with Gary the Arb. He's never been the most consistent at the boxes. I remember he won the Derby Plate at Toaster. Absolutely, it was one of them events. It escapes me, but
the Greyhound Trader one, I think it was.
The Greyhound Trader. He was absolutely superb in that. Come from just off the pace. He wasn't disgraced in the East Anglian Derby at Yarmouth. Obviously, lacks a recent look round, but I like the draw. I think he can turn in a handy position. Drive on Lads a credit to Connections. He caused a bit of an upset last week, but I just think Gary the Arb, if he can get first run on the inside, he'll stay well enough.
Yeah, going to be 2 votes for Gary the Arb, although just keep an eye on Beaming Panther in trap 5. I think's very interesting. I ran well last week in preparation for this competition over course and distance. Owned by the same lads that own Ninja Kerry, they're great success. Alan Ballard and Barry Sadler, and very shrewd as well. They don't have a moderate dog to their name. So, one to maybe keep on side. Could be an each-way play outright. We'll discuss that a little bit later on. But, Gary the Arb going to be very, very hard to beat in Heat 4. Heat 5 then, 9.28. Droopy's Vivacity goes in trap 1. Elite Albert in 2. Pep in the Step in 3. Never Say No in 4. Burrows Sapphire in 5, and Blue Range goes in the stripes. Now, I looked at this race straight away. I thought, there's not actually a lot of speed into the corner on offer here. Never Say No's a very interesting runner. Lightly raced over 6 bends. Pep in the step. Plenty of experience over course and distance. What's your view here, Tony?
I thought it was a tricky race. You touched on not a lot of speed, so an early advantage could be up for grabs. And I just sided with Pep in the step on the basis that I thought she could turn in the front rank. I mean, she did that on the 20th of September and sustained a gallop 35.30. If she manages to get off the front, 35.30 might be good enough here, Dave.
Yeah, it's one of the weaker heats in my eyes. Droopy's Vivacity on the inside is not a very good bend runner, particularly at Romford. I've seen him off at the bends a couple of times. I know he's had his problems off the track, but he's just caught my eye a couple of times in defeat. In particular, last time, it absolutely walked from the boxes. And he'd done some running coming home, and he just, he was feeling his way around. And he just looks like a dog to me, who I think is just beginning to learn what running the 5.75 at Romford is all about. And he's got the inside line here. If he can just defend the route around the first couple of turns, he's got an engine. He's not a great bend runner, but he has got an engine and he's got pace. And I think that might just get him over the line here. So 9.28, I'm going to take a chance with Droopy's Vivacity on the inside, who hopefully, given recent defeats, is going to be a bit of a price. So he'll do for me. Heat 6 is the 9.46. Golden Palace in 1, Mini Bullet in 2, Glide Away Hugo in 3, Droopy's Flotilla in 4, Swift Depot in 5, U2 in 6. Tricky race, this one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the draw for Golden Palace here. I mean, Mini Bullet, she's approaching the 100 club. She's got nothing to prove. I'm not quite sure she's the force of old, Mini Bullet, but I think Golden Palace, I think he can boss the inside here, Dave. I think U2 will be prominent out wide, but Golden Palace can counter the moves on the inside. I think he'll be the one to beat in this particular heat.
Yeah, boringly, 2 votes for Golden Palace there, who likely to be favourite, I would have thought.
Yeah, I'd be around 6-4, that sort of mark. I would have thought U2 won't be a big price. With Droopy's Flotilla, she's no back number, but she might just be a little bit ring rusty following a spell on the sidelines. And Swift Depot, I mean, he's been acquitting himself for over 4 and 6 bends. But I like the Golden Palace dog. He's ran well in good company at Toaster in recent weeks and was beaten 6 lengths by New Destiny, which wasn't a shabby effort considering she done 34.86.
Yeah, he can run and he's got the inside line as well. They all need to get around Golden Palace at that opening turn. Right, he'll be a short price. He's not as short as New Destiny is for outright honours. Let's have a look at the market then, the outright. This is the Premier Greyhound Racing Champion Stakes, £20,000 when it gets underway on Friday night at Romford. 6 first round heats, 36 will become 18, it will then become 6 in next week's semi-finals. New Destiny, even money with Corals. Iams of Sydney at 6s, Fabulous Sonique 14, Bocco's Thunder 16, Man for Sterling 20, Littler's Duke a pony 25-1, and then it is Double Carpet 33-1 bar. The minute I saw this market, Tony, I thought, yes, New Destiny warrants respect, but no, probably a little bit too short. And it just screamed firing each way bullets everywhere you look here. And it's got that kind of shape to it. Even if you give New Destiny the race, we're looking for 3 places in the final. And at the each way terms, there's some massive prices on offer here.
Yeah, there are. I mean, there's some dogs that are big prices and some that should be the other way round. So there is value if you want to seek it. But look, New Destiny's race to lose. In a clean run race, she wins this event. But that first 2 to qualify format in the semis, you get a tricky draw. Nothing's ever set in stone in this sport, particularly at Romford, Dave. I mean, obviously the second favourite, he's the 2 quickest dogs in the comp are first and second in the betting, and all going well, they might well end up meeting in the final. But yeah, I think a few punters might be enticed to throw a few darts because you're getting massive, massive prices. And if I'm going to throw a dart at a big price one, I'll probably take a chance with Burrows Sapphire myself. He's not easy to catch right, but he's got a bit of side to him, and I like that in a dog. He's a middle seed, so if he's railer heavy at any stage, he could mind his own business and get a run. But New Destiny's without doubt the one to beat.
Yeah, I mean, there's if buts and maybes, isn't there? But the facts are this is Romford, right? And anything can happen. Things can go wrong. We could get... In previous years, we've seen 6 railer finals, New Destiny out wide in trap 6. If getting to the final, I don't think it's going to be even money. So, it's definitely a jolly that I'm looking to at least take on with each way action. I'm going to go with 2 dogs that I think are by no means good things even to get to the final. But I just feel like they're probably twice the price they should be. First one's going to be Droopys Vivacity, who I've spoken about loads already, and there's a little bit more to come with Droopys Vivacity very shortly. And Gary the Arb as well, again, another one we've mentioned. They're 40s and 50s respectively, which I think is huge, absolutely crazy. Probably Gary the Arb's price at 50 to 1 is the biggest one that stands out to me. But they're the 2 small each way plays. Looking forward to that, and that kicks off what is an incredible weekend. A reminder that Romford on Friday is the Champion Stakes. Saturday night, Central Park, the Kent Derby, sponsored by Premier Greyhound Racing. The Oaks gets underway at Perry Bar, another one sponsored by Premier Greyhound Racing. And the Bresbet Steel City Cup on Sunday afternoon gets underway at Sheffield. Top class action everywhere you look, all live on the Premier Greyhound Racing service. Let us know in the comments below who you fancy, which competition you're most looking forward to. Is it a lay or a play? The price about New Destiny, even money. We think looks a little bit on the skinny side. Let us know what you think. Right, it is that time, Tony. You have been in red hot form, tipping winners left, right and centre, correctly predicting winning times and all sorts has been going on. So you've very much got the honour this week. Best bet, anywhere you like. Where are we going?
I'm going to go to Romford. As you say, they've got another competition running alongside the Champion Stakes. So I like Cunningar User. Ran into a on fire El Torneo last Friday. I mean, the winner done 23.52. But I think Cunningar User gets to the front here. Killer Detail might make the market, hopefully. I mean, Killer Detail's got some brilliant form to his name at Romford, but he's been off the card for a bit and just might be a bit ring rusty. But Cunningar User, level exit up the centre, makes the bend in front, 23.80, job done.
Job done. Right, it could be a quick fire double then for us because I'm going to head to Romford as well. I'm going to go in the Champion Stakes. I'm going to go in the 9.28, and anyone who's been backing this dog at short prices will now groan at the ground that I'm about to put up. But I'm going to go with Droopys Vivacity, that we've already mentioned on this week's show. Not the best Ben runner, which is a big negative, particularly at a tight track like Romford. But this dog has got pace and this dog has got an engine. And I've been watching him in recent weeks in defeat and he's been staying on strongly. And I think he's just beginning to get to grips with Romford. It is a unique track, short straights, tight turns. But he's got the inside draw in his Champion Stakes heat. And there's not a lot of pace on. I think if he can come away, he absolutely walked out last week. But if he can just find any sort of start, a level break will do us. I think he might defend the rail into the turn and then it'll be race on. And because he's been expensive to follow, there might be a little bit of opposition to him. So hopefully it'll be a backable price. So 9.28 Droopys Vivacity for me. 8.01 Cunningar User for Tony. A Friday night delight. There you go. Down at the London Road Circuit. The Champion Stakes gets underway. It is one hell of a week. We've had Cat 1 finals last week, and there's 4 Cat 1s kicking off this week, Tony. We'll take a breather in between recording this and then getting stuck into the action. Which competition are you looking forward to the most?
I mean, I'm looking forward to the Central Park comp. I've always been a fan of the circuit at Central Park. I'm really interested in the Kent Derby because it looks like it's going to be a very hotly contested event. But it's all great. I mean, if you're a grand enthusiast, these races coming along, it's just brilliant. It's a shame that they are so congested together. But bring it on.
Bring it on, indeed. All live on the Premier Greyhound Racing service, of course. You can find that on their stream or behind the red button on Sky Sports Racing. This has been Off the Leash, brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. Do enjoy all the action this week. Do gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next week.